Time to head out to the Under and follow our lead. Good thing we opened up this shortcut before. So we need to talk to Net, I believe, in the kids grid. So let's use our shortcut. I forget if I actually found this place during my first playthrough or not. Just opening up that shortcut back to the world map with the elevator. I probably did. But anyway, I think we are fully... Yeah, we would be fully healed, so let's go. Now, Net is over at the Kids Grid headquarters, so that's not that far, and you can still see that item in the distance there. We'll be dealing with that eventually. Not really all that soon, but anyway, hi there. Well, yeah, you're behind the times. You're really behind the times. Okay. Yes, we are both okay, and, where is your brother? Is he still decrypting? Unless he's the one of the... Oh, no, he's here. No, not Net's PC, Net himself. There's a guy in front of the junk shop named Gurks. He saw this shadow Pokemon. So, just like with Kale, we have a witness that we need to talk to. And just like with Kale, said witness is going to battle us. Guess this is how detective work works. It's in the Pokemon universe. So, let's head on over to... Yeah, so that's the guy we're looking for, the guy up on that ledge there. So, we'll need to go to Yadoya here. Which is what those Japanese characters say. Up here, and, what the people are saying here? Yes, I wonder if it's because Venus has fled this town. Oh, they're still saying the same thing. Oh, no, they're actually not. They're talking about the spy situation being over. Anyway, though, what we need to do is head to... I'm kind of curious to see what the people in the junk shop say now. But, no, let's talk to Gurks. So, obviously, we're going to be battling him. Chaser Gurks. Now, remember how I said earlier that you wanted to remember this battle because of something? So, yeah, now he's got an entire team of just Whale Lords. So, be prepared for every other Pokemon in existence to look really, really tiny. Seriously, look at those Whale Lords. He's only got 2 of them, though, but this is a pretty fun battle just because of the Whale Lords. At least, this isn't Pokemon Battle Revolution. Well, not at least. It's a shame this isn't Pokemon Battle Revolution. Otherwise, we'd be able to seismic toss these Whale Lords and, yeah, see how hilarious they look when they're flying up around the world. Whale Lord, a lot of animations are pretty funny with Whale Lord in these games. But that's already one Whale Lord down. They have a lot of HP, but not much in the way of defenses, so Kick Face tends to tear through them pretty easily. Okay, I was worried that you'd use Water Spout, but no, just Hydro Throw Pump. And now, let's not miss High Jump Kick, and this battle should be over pretty soon. It did about the same amount of damage to both of them. And so there goes Whale Lord. Not a particularly challenging battle, but it's one that I always remember just because of the 2 Whale Lords. It'd be funny if he had a Skitty too, but I guess at this point that meme hadn't really caught on. I love how I'm pretty sure that the Ditto music video, the official one that Pokemon made, actually referenced that because it had the Ditto turn into a Whale Lord, and I think actually no wait, it turned into a Joltik, that's it. Anyway, so let's see. Of course it was Rosso, and he had a Shadow Quilava. And that's all we get at this point. So, that's kind of annoying. Misty Jr., stop getting in the way. But, kind of want to see what happens if we go back to Net, even though that's not actually what we need to do at this point. I know where Rosso is, but I want to kind of wait until the game tells us where he is before I actually go there. Okay, you're not saying anything different. So for now, we should just leave the Under, because that's all we're getting out of this place. So now we're out of the Under, I actually forget what you have to do to trigger the next part of the quest. Probably just go to another area, because we've got an email. It appears as if criminals are gathering at the Shadow Pokemon lab again. People have seen a Cypher Peon in a gaudy red outfit with a Shadow Quilava. So I guess we technically didn't even need to talk to Gertz in the first place, but we did. Also, oh, Master of Pirate Town. Actually, it wasn't someone who was down in the Under, so I guess they couldn't have told us that back then. So we need to head to the Shadow Pokemon lab. That's where we'll be finding our Shadow Quilava trainer. Obviously, it'll be a different Pokemon. I think, I remember when I did my first playthrough, it was Bayleaf. It was Quilava was the second one that I caught, and Croconaw was the one that was here. So, back to the awesome music of the Shadow Pokemon lab. So, the Cypher Peon with our Shadow Pokemon is where Iron used to be. But I think some of the old Ceiling Peons may have come back. So, we're gonna have to tread lightly here. Let's see if we have any. Yep, Ceiling Peons have returned. So, we're going to have to be rebattling a lot of the Cypher Peons who had Shadow Pokemon before. This is another opportunity to snag any Shadow Pokemon that you missed previously. So, I don't know if I'll be cutting these battles out or not. I'm just trying to think, because I forgot that these fights were here. I'm pretty much going to be heading straight to the Shadow Pokemon fight. But I'll be battling anyone who's in the way. But yeah, one exception to the rule of most of the Cypher Peons going to the Snagem Hideout is the Shadow Pokemon lab. Anyone who was in the lab previously stays in the lab, and they can be rebattled as long as, well, until you catch their Shadow Pokemon. Once you do catch their Shadow Pokemon, they're gone forever. You still have Profile! Huh. Once again, I can have Dan Green versus Dan Green. Battle of the Dan Greeny. Yes, nice survival. Nice survival there. But I'm gonna have to switch you now. I guess, Soul. Can the other Dan Green role redeem itself against this Dan Green? Maybe it can! First time we've actually seen Pursuit hitting a switch out. Nice one. That does double damage if it hits a switch, and actually Sceptile is one of the few Pokemon who can do that effectively because it's got good special attack. And who should I keep in? I know that you're going to be leading with Grumpig, so I should probably have Kickface lead too. Got that item right? So, here he is. Sorry, but we swiped that data a long time ago. Yeah, I remember that. We could have fought you, but we didn't. He's kind of trying to single-handedly revive Cypher. That's actually kind of impressive, but he is still going to fall in our hands nonetheless. And yeah, I knew he'd lead with his Shadow Pokemon because Verde did. So, yeah, he's leading with Quilava. And of course, we get the identification on the Shadow Pokemon here. So now I'm going to go for Sleep Powder immediately, and you're going to go ahead and Shadow Ball the Grumpig. But yeah, 62, the levels do spike up a little bit here. The trainers earlier were a bit of foreshadowing for that, and soon we're going to be hitting yet another big level spike, so we're going to be going from roughly evenly leveled with the trainers to very under-leveled very quickly. That'll be the next thing that we take on. Well, actually, not quite the next thing that we take on. It'll be right after the next thing that we take on. Oh, I hate when things just barely survive. Okay, Jumpluff's done her job, though. I can probably switch her out safely here. So let's go. Jumpluff switches, and I guess, okay, you probably have, since you've got Quilava, you probably have a Grass type, and I actually have no idea what Grass type you're going to be using, so I'm going to be... Oh, I don't want Soul to faint before that muck comes in. Okay, I'm going to go for Soul now, and Kickface is just going to go ahead and finish you off. Really? That's surprising. Whose turn did you use to use that Hyper Potion, though? Because if it was Quilava's turn, then you effectively haven't lost any time. Well, I mean, you could have used an opportunity to try and wake up, but other than losing that, you haven't lost any time because the Grumpig will still be able to attack, won't it? No, you actually didn't use up Quilava's turn. I don't know why you did. Okay. So, I'm going to just go ahead and, I really don't care what I'm doing here because... Actually, no, wait. Soul can throw a Pokeball. Go for an Ultra Ball again. This is one of those times where I kind of feel like these starters must have an increased catch rate because it does feel like they're a lot easier to catch than their catch rate suggests. Anyway, let's see if we can get ourselves a Quilava and complete our Johto starter collection. 1, 2, 3. Quilava get! Yeah, I'm sure they have increased catch rates. And here's Muck. Thankfully, I have Soul out ready for this. I guess we'll have the moment of truth here. Which grass type is going to be using? Because I'm sure it is going to be a grass type. They have a Pokemon that covers their starter's weakness. So, what you got? Breloom. Actually, that's good, because I can take that up with Soul. That's the... Actually, yeah, I'm just going to go for the Breloom. Soul is probably going to faint to that Muck, but... Unless they're stupid and target Kickface. Let's just go for the Detect. Remember that Muck Punch doesn't exist in this generation, so Breloom is a little bit less dangerous because of that. Also, no physical grass moves. Breloom in this gen was pretty much just a status use. Well, actually, I think it mainly used possibly Sub-Punch, Spore, and then... Yeah, it didn't really... Yeah, that Detect was useless. I thought you would be targeting Soul. Oh, well. I mean, I could burn a Revive to make sure Soul levels up here. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do. Just because I want to get as much levels as I can. Because, like I said, the fight's going to be spiking up in levels again quite soon. And so, because of that, I'm going to use up Suikun's turn on the Revive. We're getting quite a bit of money from these fights, so I might need to might be able to restock my Revive soon. And I will need to, but it's more like what I wanted to say was that I will be able to soon. That's not as much damage as I was hoping for. Well, that'll help Suicune finish it off. And Kickface goes down, but you were fairly high level, so... I mean, I could send Soul back in. Let's go ahead and do that. It's a revolving door of Pokemon! Forget if that was Stadium Announcer or PBR Announcer who said that. I don't have much experience with the Stadium Announcer because I never actually played Stadium. Well, I played it a few times at Anime Club when they brought it in to do mini-games, and I played it, I think, at a friend's birthday party to do mini-games, but other than that, I've never really played much of Stadium. The entire N64 era, I never had an N64, basically. I played most of the best N64 games through later remakes and remasters, but I never had an actual N64. I can actually see Rosso as being an admin, though. He has a gimmicky name and a design, and he's vanished from existence entirely. So, yeah, that is all from the Shadow Pokemon Lab, unless there are any more trainers who are going to be ambushing us on the way out. Let's hope there aren't. Kinda weird how they had to devote a cutscene to that, essentially. Okay, good, no one trying to ambush us. So, let's go ahead and leave. So you might be wondering now that we've snagged all of the Shadow Stars that we missed, what do we have left? Well, remember the Shadow Smeargle and Shadow Ursaring that were mentioned in those emails? We haven't caught those yet, and we don't have any leads on where they are yet. But I think we're about to get one. Most of the post-game is basically about, just following emails. Anyway, we've got a photo attachment. I'm kind of surprised they haven't done this so far. So, yeah. Okay. Guess we aren't going to be receiving any, new information yet. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do anything with the photo attachments during the main storyline. What I think we want to do is we want to go somewhere else, and I think we'll probably be getting another email. Like I said, it's almost all about following emails, the post-game quests. And right on cue, we get another one. Let's see. Big snag machine. There's a freaky rumor going around that the Snagem Hideout's fixed a big snag machine. So we don't have any direct leads on the Shadow Pokemon, but we do have a lead on where we need to go next. So it's back to the Snagem Hideout for the second visit. Welcome back to Colosseum. If you're wondering why I'm at the Agate Village Pokemon Center, it's because I went and purified a few things off screen. Oh boy, Gonzap Skarmory is going to be hard to grind for. I went through 3 full areas of Mount Battle with it, and it's only halfway purified. Thankfully, I found out that it has a nature that likes the daycare, so he's currently in the daycare. But anyway, I got an email while I was doing all of that grinding, so didn't get a chance to show that on screen, but here it is. Shadow Pokemon, question mark? So there's a rumor about a creepy Smeargle and Ursaring. Seeing as those are the only 2 Shadow Pokemon on our list that we hadn't caught yet, it was pretty obvious they'd be there. So anyway, we're going back to the Snagem Hideout again. I find this kind of weird. I'm not really sure why they did this. You basically have to make 2 trips to the Snagem. And we have another email. Yeah, you get a lot of those in the post-game. You probably get more in the post-game than you do in the entire main story. Okay, more of the Shadow Pokemon list. Noctowl, Flaffy, Houndoom, Shuckle, Miltank, and Delibird. All of them we have apart from Shuckle. I guess there are some things I can talk about regarding the Shadow Pokemon list. There are a few unused sets of emails that talk about Shadow Pokemon that aren't actually in the game, but I'll talk about those when I do a whole video on unused content later. So anyway, we're back in the Snagem Hideout. Like I said, it's kind of weird they make you go through this place twice. And there's Scrub. So there are different trainers this time. Yeah, I had a feeling Scrub was here. This is more of an opportunity to give you a second chance to snag any Pokemon you missed during the main storyline. Oh, there's Wobbuffet again. But hey, your Clamperl's evolved into Huntail now. Interesting. I still find it weird that a clam evolves into either an eel or a... I don't even know what Gorbis is. I'm sure Gorbis is based off some kind of real-life animal, but I'm just not entirely sure what it is. Anyway, though, actually, Ice Beam will probably hit harder than Gust. Using these 2 because they're the lowest leveled among my party, but... Hey, that actually did more than I... Although, admittedly, you are only level 51, so... That's to be expected. I probably should replace Gust with something, especially when I go into Mount Battle. I'm actually thinking Blizzard at this point. It's not like I really have that many other options. If there was a TM4... Oh no. Just realized that I've got Jump Off out, and that's going to be bad. Jump Off could probably take 1, though. Yes, yes, you can. Nice, I didn't need my words there. Once again, Wobbuffet can't do anything. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and heal. I bought some more Hyper Potions in Agate Village, also bought some Scents just to make some other purifications a bit easier. And you're just gonna finish it off with Gust, just for lols. So if there was a TM for Carmine in this game, I'd definitely teach it to Suicune, but there is not. And I don't exactly want to cheat by trading one from one of my GBA games. If I even have one still left over in one of my GBA games. Hey, nice level 57 on you. So, Blizzard is probably my best option here, just for being able to hit both opponents in a double battle, which I'm probably going to be going into Mount Battle doubles. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get to it. For now, though, let's see. I could try putting Wobbuffet to sleep while I have Suicune surf the entire field. That might not be a bad idea, actually. Or I could just Ice Beam the Metachamp. For now, though, I think I'll just go with this option. Yeah, I still, well, not remember, but I mean, I was looking recently at, again, I really like watching that YouTube channel that was history of this Pokemon in competitive battling, and I was watching one recently on Porygon and Porygon 2, and it just reminded me that, yeah, so back in Gen 3, there was pretty much only one semi-reliable way to beat, actually, it wasn't so much Wobbuffet, it was more Dugtrio, but Porygon 2 could come in on Dugtrio, copy its Arena Trap, and then Ice Beam it. You could kind of try that with Wobbuffet. I think there was a moveset that Porygon 2s used back in Gen 3, where they would try and trace Wobbuffet's Arena Trap and then use Toxic on it to trap it in and just wait until it killed itself with poison. One of the few ways you were guaranteed to be able to beat Wobbuffet in that gen. Then they changed it so that two Pokemon with Shadow Tag against each other, they can both switch out. Now, the reason why they did that was to stop the endless battle thing that I talked about earlier, where if you have two Wobbuffets facing each other in Gen 3 with leftovers, the battle is endless and you have to turn off your game because neither Wobbuffet will ever KO each other. Oh no, don't use Mirror Coat, please. Well, that's always the risk when you're doing that. How much am I going to take? Yeah, so Wobbuffet's enormous HP means you're probably going to take a lot of damage from counter if you do get countered. I think it's probably safest just to Giga Drain that thing and then just set up a Rain Dance. Giga Drain's probably going to one-shot the Golem. I don't think you had a Golem the last time we fought you. Golem is kind of interesting. It was pretty amazing in Gen 1 and then later gens, although a Alolan Golem's pretty cool though. I forget if I've actually trained up one of those or not. I think I've bred some Alolan Geodudes, but I don't think I've actually trained up any of them yet. Might have put one in the, I'm borrowing an expression from someone else on YouTube that he calls the EV training portion of Isle Level Up, he calls it the EV Bake Oven, and I love that name. So yeah, I sometimes have some Pokemon in the EV Bake Oven while I'm doing other stuff, just so that they're basically EV training themselves. It's annoyingly one of the only ways to actually precisely get EVs in Gen 7, because I don't know if any of you have this problem, but sometimes when I train in SOS battles, I always end up with more EVs than I need. Even though I'm calculating it, because I know that every Pokemon called after the first, like, gives double EVs. So I'm like, okay, the first one is not doubled, but everyone after that is. And I count up the number of EVs, but I always end up going over what I need. So I find that whenever I need to hit a specific number of EVs, rather than just maxing out an individual stat, in which case I just keep training until the stat's maxed out, but whenever I need to hit a specific number, I usually have to use the EV Bake Oven. Because it's just a little more convenient that way. Yeah, I kind of like how they moved the leveling up aspect of the daycare to that, and had the daycare itself just breeding. It helps a lot, because, I need to remember how I need to get to that one spot. Don't know if the trainers here are any different or not. Okay, I think that leads up to Gonzap's room. We'll be taking on Gonzap's room later. I think what we need to do there happens after we've caught these two Shadow Pokemon. Well, I can see someone there. Wonder if there's anyone to fight us over here. I've already battled you. But anyway. So, yeah, what I was saying about the... Oh, yeah, the leveling up thing. Because I hated it back in, I remember you. You were from the stairs in the under, going down to the subway, weren't you? Forget exactly which Shadow Pokemon you had, but it was one of those. But, yeah. Sometimes Pokemon would level up, and learn moves and replace old moves in the daycare that you didn't want them to replace, and that always got annoying, so I like that the daycare no longer levels you up anymore. Don't actually think I'm going to be able to one-shot either of these. Also, the thing about leveling up in the daycare was kind of annoying in Gen 3 as well, because in Gen 3, if you wanted to have Pokemon in any kind of level 50 competition, which is what I usually did in the Battle Frontier or Battle Tower, they had to be exactly level 50. You didn't get, like, there was no way to have your Pokemon lowered to level 50 if they were above 50. They had to be 50 exactly, and that's actually true of Colosseum as well. If you want to play battle mode in level 50 mode, you have to be exactly 50. Any higher, and you have to compete in level 100. Unless you're doing now battle, in which case, We'll talk about that later, but that battle kind of works a bit more like Emerald does. Yeah, that's always an issue with using 5 PP moves. I had enough PP ups to max out one of my 5 PP moves, but not the other one. But yeah, so that was the issue with the daycare then, is that you could have your Pokemon that, like, if you were breeding a trained up Pokemon that was at 50, you'd have to be very careful they didn't go over 50, otherwise you wouldn't be able to get them into any level 50 competition. I've said this before, but that means that Pokemon like Tyranitar and Dragonite were effectively banned from level 50 mode in any kind of competition that was at level 50, because they only evolved at level 55, so you couldn't legitimately obtain them at 50. Back in this gen, I think that was the highest level that a Pokemon evolved at. It wasn't until Black and White they actually added Pokemon that evolved at higher levels than that. I know I'm going on a lot of tangents here, but I just thought of another one. That in Black and White, you often had Pokemon that evolved at very late levels, particularly Volibeye and Rufflet. And I remember your Octillery now. And it made sense for... actually, wait, no, I won't do that. It made sense for Black and White because you ended that game at quite a high level, and you obtained those Pokemon very late into the game, so them evolving at high levels didn't mean much because you caught them at high levels anyway. But then when you got to, like, let's say Sun and Moon, and you can get Volibeye and Rufflet on the first island, which is all well and good, but they can't evolve until over level 50, which is really annoying. So, yeah, it's always kind of a balancing act whenever they incorporate Pokemon from earlier generations in a later generation game, but at a location where you wouldn't normally obtain them in that other game, because usually Pokemon's learn sets and evolution levels, things like that, are all balanced around where you catch them in the game. Walrein, I'm guessing you had... You wouldn't have... Would you have had Swinub? I forget which one you had. Anyway, there is a Walrein on the field now, and I don't particularly like where this is going. I think I need to go ahead and switch out to someone like Kickface here, because Suicune's not really going to be able to hurt either of them that much. I still really like Walrein. This one hopefully doesn't have Attract. We'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it doesn't, though. I really don't have any idea what they were thinking with Nazgul's Walrein. Blizzard. I guess that's kind of standard. Oh, hey, Blizzard actually missed something for once. Blizzard looks kind of lame in this game. It definitely looked better in XD. A lot of moves look better in XD. That's something that I'll talk about when I get to that game. They really... Some of the animations are the same as Colosseum, but most of them, they really changed a lot. Of course, I get that. Well, actually, that doesn't matter, because I have Feint Attack. And I can just kick the Walrein. Reminds me of Glacier back in Ruby and Sapphire. A good fighting type made her team pretty easy. Although I still think that overall, as much as I like to bash Diamond and Pearl's Elite Four for having a Fire Elite Four member who only actually uses 2 fire types, I do think that the Hoenn Elite Four is, in my opinion, probably the worst Elite Four in the series, only because you've got Phoebe and Glacier, who both just... like, Phoebe's like 2 Bannettes, 2 Dusclopses, and Glacier is like 2 Celios and 2 Glalie. It's just really just no diversity in those teams at all. As far as my favorite Elite Four in the series, let me just check, I probably need to use a full restore here. As far as my favorite Elite Four in the series goes, it's kind of a toss-up between either... Where are my full restores? There they are. It's kind of a toss-up between either Black and White or... Which I still found pretty challenging, even though they only use 4 Pokemon each, or Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon had a pretty good Elite Four. Just gonna go ahead and just switch things up just for the sake of it. Everyone's at level 57 anyway, so... already battled you, I'm pretty sure. Don't want to talk to you again, though, in case you rematch me. Because I know this part of the hideout is where we need to go. Now, you, I don't think I battled you yet. Oh, it's you! You're the one who has that problem where it's like, is it okay if I cry? Yes, no. Reminds me of Whitney a bit. I think I actually got a bit confused with Whitney back in, when I first played Gold and Silver, because she didn't give me the badge at first, and I didn't realize you had to talk to her again after you beat her in order to get the badge. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Now I'm just thinking of a lot of weird tangents to talk about, but just a random tangent again, that Whitney, Pretty sure Whitney speaks in a Kansai accent in the Japanese version, which makes sense because Goldenrod City, I think, corresponds to where Osaka is on the map. As in, like, in terms of where real-life Japan is. That was worth almost nothing, wow. I'm guessing the Shroomish is not going to be worth much experience either. Intimidate's not really going to be doing that much. And sometimes I do find there's a bit of a pause between one Pokemon getting intimidated and the other one. Is the game loading something or something like that? I still love how Fire Blast looks in this game, though. I think it's, like, I like this just the way that it works, like just shooting this little fireball that just explodes into a huge, well, fiery blast. I like that actually, maybe you would want to end Swine Up if you're using Donphan to replace it. But yeah, I like that better than how it looks in some games where it just shoots a giant kanji for big at the enemy. I never really understood that until I looked up what Fire Blast was in Japanese, and, don't know if I've explained this before, but in Japanese, Fire Blast is actually called Daimonji. It's named after a particular... It's not like the festival itself, but there's a festival in Kyoto where they light up a giant bonfire that looks like the kanji for big, and that's what the attack is actually named after in Japanese. So that's why the kanji for big appears there. There was an episode of the anime that actually made a joke on that I think they edited out in the dub, where after like a Pokemon uses like a water move to blow away a Fire Blast, it turns into the kanji for middle and then small as it gets smaller and smaller. I can understand why they'd edit that out though, because that joke makes no sense if you aren't Japanese. Anyway, you're all the same trainers as before. You're the same as before. But let's see. I wonder if you're the one we're looking for. Yes, you must be, if you're challenging us on site. So, they're trying to repair their snag machine. We need to stop that. And I think Team Snagem Hideout was one of the ones we battled at the beginning of the game. Smeargle and Smeargle, this is new. Now, something that I should just mention here, you might be wondering, wait, is that Smeargle shiny? It's got red paint and a red paw print on its back. Actually, no. So ever since Gen 3, Smeargle has officially had a green tail and a green paw print on its back, but because all of the models for Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon in this game are based on their Stadium 1 and 2 models, and Smeargle in Gen's, well, only Gen 2 because it wasn't in Gen 1, but Smeargle in Gen 2, I'm just going to go ahead and use Return. Smeargle in Gen 2 had a red tail, that's why it looks this way. But anyway, there goes this Smeargle. Smeargles have extremely low defenses, and I'm so thankful these don't have Moody, because that would be really annoying. You want to be careful when you're KOing these Smeargles, though. Don't double target any Smeargle slots. You can probably tell what's coming. And yeah, as you can see here, they're very frail, so you'll want to be careful of a certain special Smeargle this guy has. Is it going to come out now? 45. Yep, this is probably the one. And it being female, actually, wait, no, both male and female Smeargles are valuable for Gen 3 games at the time this game came out, but yes, we have a Shadow Smeargle on the field. Like I said, I want to be very, very careful of this Shadow Smeargle, because they're very, very frail, and they tend to faint to a light breeze. And like I said earlier, I'm really thankful these don't have Moody, otherwise this battle could get really annoying. Although I am KOing all these Smeargles in one shot, though. I mean, I'm making this fight look really, really easy, but it kind of is. I have no idea what moves all these Smeargles have, but I'm pretty sure that if they're anything like most AI Smeargles in this game, they use mainly offensive moves, and that's something that you really don't want to be using on a Smeargle. I'm just going to go ahead and go for Reflect, just to minimize the damage you're doing to yourself with Shadow Rush. But I'm going to try and get it at full health, because I don't want to even consider attacking it. Given how quickly all those other Smeargles went down, yeah, I don't want to risk it at all, especially when I'm over 10 levels higher. And so the painting dog falls asleep. Having looked up its names in other languages, I find it kind of funny that in, I think, one of the Chinese languages, Smeargle is just literally dog painter. And Jumpluff will... Actually, you take this time to heal yourself. Even though you won't get a chance to if this ball catches. Forget exactly what Smeargle's catch rate is, but anyway. 1, 2... Nope. was almost going to say 3 there, but I didn't get a chance to. See, here's where False Swipe, well, I would say False Swipe would be useful, except for the fact that, yeah. Smeagol could just knock itself out with Shadow Rush if I did that. At this point, I'm basically just going to spam Ultra Balls, because I really don't want this thing to take any kind of damage whatsoever. Even Espeon's Return, I feel like, could potentially run the risk of knocking it out. 1, 2, 3. Smeagol gets. Smeagol is a very unique Pokemon thanks to its exclusive move, Sketch, and Sketch is in fact one of the few exclusive moves that is truly exclusive. It can't be copied, it can't be called with Metronome, Smeagol is really the only thing that can use it. And for good reason. Sketch copies the last move that the target used. Now you might be thinking, oh that's just like Mimic, right? And that wears off after the battle. No. The move copied by Sketch is permanently learned. This means Smeagol can effectively learn any move in the game. But you might be thinking, oh, I can only do that once, right? So what's the point? Well, here's something that I didn't know as a kid. Every 10 levels, Smeagol will learn Sketch again if it doesn't currently have it on its moveset. So, sketch a move, wait 10 levels, learn Sketch again, sketch another move. Repeat this until you've filled all 4 of your move slots with any 4 moves you desire. Any 4 moves. Except Shadow Rush, and in later generations, Chatter. Now, being able to use every move in the game sounds game-breakingly overpowered, so they had to give Smeagol some kind of catch. And that is, its stats are terrible. Apart from speed, which is merely mediocre, all its stats are bad even by unevolved Pokemon standards, and Smeagol is considered a fully evolved Pokemon. So Smeagol is extremely frail, and its attacking stats are so bad you should never use direct damaging moves on it under any circumstances. So surely that makes Smeagol a really awful Pokemon, right? Actually no, it's still pretty good, you just need to know the right moves to use on it. For the main storyline, I'd say the best moveset for a Smeagol is as a catcher, giving it a good sleep move, preferably Spore, and False Swipe. Of course, to even learn those moves in Colosseum, you probably have to import a Pokemon over that knows them anyway, so I don't really see much value in that. But it's an option, I guess. You can also go for the cheap combination of Mind Reader and Sheer Cold, which will instantly knock out any Pokemon equal to or lower than your level, provided that Smeagol survives for 2 turns, and that's actually a bit of a stretch. In competitive play, mainly in this generation, Smeagol is almost always used as a Baton Passer. You generally want Spore, Baton Pass, and any combination of stat boosting moves that you want. Alternatively, you could fill one of those slots with Mean Look or Spiderweb to stop the opposing Pokemon from switching out. That effect is also transferred by Baton Pass. Or you could go with Ingrain, which is a great help to Baton Pass teams. I won't go into that in much detail here because otherwise I'd be spending the whole video talking about it. Additionally, and here's something quite fun, Smeagol can Sketch Transform. This wasn't possible in Gen 2, but in Gen 3, if Transform fails for any reason, Smeagol will be able to sketch it from the target. It takes a lot of setup to actually be able to do this, but if you manage to Sketch Transform, Smeagol is, ironically enough, a better user of the move than Ditto, since it at least has higher speed. So that's Smeagol, a Pokemon of infinite possibilities, but not all those possibilities are good. The general idea, you want to not use direct attacking moves on Smeagol, or if you are, use things like Seismic Toss or Dragon Rage, because they're the most damage Smeagol will ever be doing. You want to stick mainly to support moves, that's its main forte. Outside of battling though, a male Smeagol is very valuable for breeding, because it can pass down any egg move to anything in the ground egg group. In fact, there are some combinations of egg moves that aren't possible unless you breed with Smeagol. And that is a relief, because like I said, I didn't want to even attempt attacking that Smeagol. Wonder if one of your Smeagols had Explosion. I'll have to check what they have after this. But I'm guessing it's all attacking moves. A lot of in-game trainers who have Smeagol's, they use, like, joke moves. Well, not joke move sets, but they use, like, gimmick sets, like Fire Blast, Thunder, Blizzard, Solar Beam, or things like that. That's pretty amazing, yeah. Reminds me of the Jigglypuff in the anime. So, anyway, this big snag machine, it seems like they're trying to fix it. But, let's not let them. We've already beaten one of those two trainers, and it looks like the other one is right here. So, let's see who I'm going to be using. I guess I can let some other Pokemon get the glory here, is what I was trying to say. I've kind of used everyone here a bit, so I'll just bring these two in. Yep, here's another trainer who challenges us on site. Well, that was kind of clever. I did notice that the snag machine didn't look fixed, so that's kind of cool. However, trapping, you know, to borrow a certain quote from a certain Prince Sniper in Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones, trapping West is a mistake, failing an expensive one. You're about to find out how expensive. I still love that line. That's one of my favorite special boss conversations in all of Fire Emblem. But anyway, can't believe Hijack Kick has 20 PP, but let's just smack that shift tree. And I guess I'll Ice Beam the Marsh Stomp. Fake out. Who's that going into? I think it's probably going to be going to... No, it's not. Okay. You probably should have fake out a Kick Face. Again, you have made another expensive mistake. And you're about to find out how expensive. Goodbye, Shift Tree. Yeah, Shift Tree is kind of fragile, and it only has 80 base speed, but I still like Shift Tree quite a lot. The majority of Shift Tree sets that I remember from Gen 3, though, were, like, in terms of competitive, they mostly just focused on Explosion. I kind of like using it as a nasty plot user in Gen 4, mainly with Chlorophyll. Its special attack is not as good as its attack, but it's alright. Especially with nasty plot backing it up. Machoke, right. I think that I might... Should I switch out Kick Face or not? I'll just try and... Actually, wait. No, wait, that was lowered speed, not accuracy. I'm thinking of a different Mud move. Mud Slap, I believe. I didn't actually mean to click Rain Dance, but that might help me later on. Or now, we'll see. Although I don't want to be surfing when a certain thing comes out. Nice one-shot there, although that admittedly isn't a fully evolved Pokemon. I remember running Faulkner back in Gen 2 going, hey, Mud Slap, it's both offensive and defensive, but it's terrible at both. And we know what this Ursaring is, though. It's in our Shadow Pokemon list. We have a Shadow Bear on our hands. Okay then. Well, at least this isn't Gen 1, so you're not quartering your critical rate. But let's double up on that Machoke, and, actually, wait, no. Gotta be careful, though, because any attack that... Like, if I one-shot that Machoke, then Suicune's attack is gonna go into the Ursaring, and I don't really want that. Now, I could stand to try and weaken this Ursaring a bit. It's definitely a bulkier Pokemon than... Well, I mean, anything's a bulkier Pokemon than Smeagol is. I'm surprised Suicune is faster than... Oh, that's because of the speed drop, obviously. Should have thought of that. But it did work out right. I think my plan was that if I one-shotted it with Suicune somehow, the Shadow Ball would go into the Ursaring and do nothing. I mean, having Hijack Kick go into Ursaring would be really terrible, so good thing that I planned ahead and didn't do that. Now, like I said, I could probably stand to... I'm going to go ahead and put this Ursaring to sleep. Possible ability of this gen is Guts. I got it confused with the attack I was about to use. But yes, Guts, which isn't going to affect it unless it somehow has Sleep Talk. Which, I know that it learns Rest and Snore by level up, but not Sleep Talk. I know that because I think I've trained up a few of them, and they often have Rest and Snore. Just they learn both moves at the same time. You're content to just keep slashing things at the moment, though. Actually, I need to check what gender you are. Female! It's for some reason I often get this Ursaring turning out to be female. Which I remember back in Gen 3 when I first played this game, and this was the only place you could get Ursaring. I didn't actually reset my games for female Pokemon, but I did coincidentally happen to get Ursaring as a female, and I was glad for that, because Teddiursa was, at the time, my sister's favourite Pokemon, and she really, really wanted a Teddiursa, so getting a female Ursaring, I was able to breed Teddiursas for her, so that was good. Also, using a Teddiursa in a cute contest is kind of its own reward. I guess I'll Cotton Spore you. But yeah, a lot of people liked Teddiursa back then. I guess people still like Teddiursa now. But I guess a lot of people who like Teddiursa for its cuteness are kind of probably annoyed that it evolved into a big, scary bear rather than... Uh-oh! Okay. That, my heart skipped a beat for a second there, but thankfully that didn't do nearly enough to KO. I think I'm going to start throwing Pokeballs now. Just in case. Don't want to crit this thing again. But yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, I mean, Glameow and Perugly is even worse in that regard. But anyway, let's see if we can get us an Ursaring. 1, 2, 3. Ursaring gets! While Smeargle was a bit complicated to explain, Ursaring is thankfully far more straightforward. It's a slow, somewhat bulky, physical attacking normal type. It hits things, basically. It's actually quite similar to Granbull, a Shadow Pokemon that we encountered earlier in the game. The main differences are Ursaring has slightly better stats all round, while Granbull has Intimidate. For main story, Granbull is definitely better since it's available much earlier. But as for Ursaring's moveset, it does have a quick attack to somewhat offset its bad speed. Strength, which is always decent on a normal type, it is the best move you have for normal stab other than return. Or Thrash, but Thrash is a lot weaker in this game than it is in later generations, so personally I don't think it's really worth confusing yourself. Also in Double Battles it targets a random opponent, which when you're using normal moves, probably not such a good idea. You might end up hitting a Ghost type. Helping Hand, though, is a very nice move to have on your starting moveset, especially in a game where everything is Double Battles. But really, that's all I can say about Ursaring. It hits things hard, and is pretty slow. That's basically it. We were more successful than those people who went on a bear hunt and wanted to catch a big one. I don't know if that nursery rhyme exists outside of Australia. It probably does, but I don't know, I just wanted to reference something from my childhood there. So, we have beaten them thoroughly and got ourselves 2 Shadow Pokemon for our trouble. And now, I think I actually want to go back to the PC here, because I think something else in this hideout is now open to us, but it's something that I'll want to save beforehand, and not for the reasons that you probably think. There's a fight coming up that, win or lose, you only get 1 shot at. Well, actually, you only get 1 shot at it in certain circumstances, and I fulfilled those circumstances. This might sound confusing, but it'll all make sense eventually. Anyway, here we have Smeargle and Ursaring. Yeah, when I was saying that both male and female Smeargles are useful, female is useful because you can breed more of them, male is useful because it can pass down any possible egg move to any Pokemon that it can breed with, which is another great thing about Smeargle. Also, good thing about the Shadow Smeargle is that it doesn't regain Sketch until it's purified, so you don't need to worry about it sketching any weird moves that you don't want it to sketch until you've caught it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and use this as a makeshift healing machine, and I'll see you back here after I've saved.